Israel's unprecedented strikes in Syria. The collapse of Bashar al-Assad's regime has triggered a dramatic and unprecedented military response from Israel, with the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, launching over 480 strikes across Syria in just 48 hours. These attacks have targeted military installations, chemical weapons stockpiles, and strategic assets, marking the most intense Israeli military campaign in Syria in decades. The strikes come amid fears that Assad's arsenal, including advanced weapons and chemical agents, could fall into the hands of extremist groups. Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, declared the operation a great success, emphasizing the destruction of Syria's naval fleet and strategic weapon depots. The campaign has not only demolished airfields and missile production sites but also severely crippled Syria's military infrastructure, with hundreds of manned and unmanned airstrikes on Damascus, Latakia, Tartus, and Homs. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hailed the developments as a new and dramatic chapter in the Middle East, crediting Israel's actions against Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas for destabilizing the Assad regime. One of the primary goals of Israel's military response has been to neutralize potential threats to its borders and citizens. The IDF has moved troops into the long-dormant buffer zone between the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and Syria. For the first time since the 1974 ceasefire, Israeli forces have advanced into this demilitarized area, establishing defensive positions to create what Katz described as a sterile defense zone free of weapons and terrorist activity. Foreign Minister Gideon Saar stated that airstrikes were conducted to prevent weapons, including chemical stockpiles, from falling into the hands of extremist groups, warning of the catastrophic risks such an outcome would pose. Satellite images and videos from Syrian activist groups reveal obliterated naval vessels in Latakia and shattered airbases in Damascus and beyond. The Voice of the Capital, a Syrian opposition group, described the bombings as the most violent in 15 years. Despite this, Israeli officials insist their actions are defensive, rejecting accusations of exploiting Syria's instability for territorial gains. Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar have condemned Israel's incursions, accusing it of violating international law and seizing Syrian land under the pretense of security. The United Nations has also called for an end to the strikes, urging restraint to avoid derailing Syria's fragile transition. However, Israel's leadership has been firm, asserting that its actions are temporary and focused solely on preventing the rise of new threats. While the future of Syria remains uncertain, Israel's aggressive campaign signals a decisive shift in its approach to regional security. With Assad's regime in ruins, the Middle East faces an evolving power dynamic that could reshape alliances and redraw boundaries.